So today we are going to be looking over mixed numbers and improper fractions and how we add and subtract those two. So just for a bit of review, a mixed number is a whole number and a fraction together. So for example, a mixed number could be 2 and 1/2. And then an example of a improper fraction could be 5 halves. Now let's start with a little bit of subtraction. First, we'll do 9 and 7/8 minus 4 and 5/8. Now the first thing we're going to do, if you remember, whenever we subtract or add, we start from the right side and we move our way left. And so we're going to start by subtracting these two fractions here. So we're going to bring them both out here. And if you take 7 minus 5 from the numerator, we'll subtract our numerators first. 7 minus 5 is 2. And then since both of our numbers on our denominator are the same, that will remain the same as well. So we have 2/8. And then we're going to move over here and subtract our whole numbers. So we'll have 9 minus 4, which equals 5, and then we'll bring down our 2/8. Now you could leave it as it is, as 5 and 2/8, but we're going to try to reduce this fraction down to its lowest possible fraction. And so the equivalent of 2/8 in its lowest form is 1/4. And how we get this is we see the number 8 and the number 2, and we try to find the greatest common numeral, which is the number 2. And so if you take 2 and you divide by 2 on both ends, 2 divided by 2 equals 1, and 8 divided by 2 equals 4. And so now we'll just bring our 1/4 back down with our 5, and our final answer is 5 and 1/4. Let's do another example. Let's do 6 and 1/4 minus 2 and 2/4. Now the first problem that we're going to run into with this problem is that the 1 here in our top number is less than the 2 in our bottom number, and so we can't take 1 away from 2. And so what we're going to do is we're going to borrow a whole number from the number 6. And so we're going to take away the 6, and that's going to become a 5. And because 4/4 make one whole, if you have 4th as your denominator, we're going to add 4/4 to our fraction. And that will leave us with 5/4. And now we can subtract the 5/4 from the 2/4. And so if we take 5 minus 2, we have 3. And because again our denominators are the same, we will leave it as 4. And so now with our fractions subtracted, we can now come over here and subtract our whole numbers. So 5 minus 2 equals 3. And our final answer is 3 3/4. And if you'll notice, this is in its lowest possible form. So 3 3/4 is our final answer. Now let's try to do a couple addition problems. For our first problem, we will do 2 and 8/12 plus 5 and 5/12. And we're going to do the same process, except instead of subtracting our fractions, we're going to add them together. So we're going to add our numerators. So 8 plus 5 is 13. And since our denominators are the same, we don't add those together. It's going to stay over 12. Now 13/12 is an improper fraction, and we need to set that to a mixed number before we can proceed. And so if you look at how many 12s make a whole, it's 12/12. So you'll have 12/12 and 13 minus 12 is 1, so you'll have 1 additional 12 left over. So this will be the sum of 1 and 1/12. And so we'll carry the 1/12 down here as the addition of our fractions, and then we're going to carry the 1 up here with the rest of our whole numbers. So we'll have 1 plus 2 plus 5, which equals 8. And because 1/12 is in its lowest possible form, 8 and 1/12 is our final answer. Now let's try one more addition problem. We'll do 3 and 4/7 plus 4 and 6/7. And again, we'll add our numerators here. So 6 plus 4 is 10, keeping the denominator the same. And seeing that this is again an improper fraction, we see how many 7 goes into 10. That's 1 time. And so 10 minus 7, if you take the 7 away from the whole number, you'll have 3/7 left. And so we'll bring the 3/7 down again, move the whole number with the others, and so 1 plus 3 plus 4 is 8. So our final answer will be 8 and 3/7 because the fraction is in its lowest possible form.